Hello YouTube, aloha from Hawaii. This will be my first YouTube video I'm making with many more to come, hopefully. In this video I'm going to be talking about a television series that I've been watching called Whale Wars. I'm sure we're all familiar with Whale Wars and the things that have been going on this series. Now, what I have to say about this series, my opinion, is that it is an unintended comedy. Okay, in this series, if you haven't watched it, it's basically about Japanese whalers and activists that go in and try and stop these Japanese whalers. Okay, at the beginning of the whaling season, this last whaling season, Bob Barker, the ex-game show host of The Price is Right, has gone ahead and donated $5 million to the activists to help them buy another vessel, actually a couple other vessels, and go out and help stop the Japanese from whaling. Well, what happened was they bought two new vessels. One of them called the Addie Gale. Now the Addie Gale is a smaller vessel. I wouldn't even think of calling it a ship really. I guess you could, but it's small. This thing's more of like a giant speedboat, if you might. It's fast. It's made of fiber optics or fiber or whatever the hell, and it's really light. And, it flies through the water. It's made some records of going around the world and whatnot. The other vessel they bought was actually a large ship, and it's called the Bob Barker. And the reason why they called it the Bob Barker was out of respect to the game show host Bob Barker that gave the money to purchase the ships. Now, halfway through, or I'm going to say about the third or fourth episode into this series, what happened was the Addie Gale had been trailing the Japanese vessel, okay, and relayed their coordinates to the Bob Barker, letting them know where it was. So they met up behind now they're following the Addie Gale. The Addie Gale had been going for I don't know how many days and was running low on fuel. Now the captain, not the admiral, not Paul Watson. A lot of people think that Paul made this call, but he didn't. The captain, and I can't really think of his name right now, but the captain of the Bob Barker said that he was not going to stop and refuel the Addie Gale and for them to sit in the water, dead in the water, for 3 days and wait for their sister ship to come and refuel them. The sister ship being the Steve Irwin, named after Steve Irwin. We all know about that tragic event. Sorry. Now, what I find absolutely stupid is that you would not refuel a vessel 20 miles off the coast of Antarctica, leave them there for 3 days, and wait for another ship to refuel them. This comes to, and if you ask any of the captains, there's, Paul Watson and this other captain, which I can't remember his name, Chuck. I think his first name's Chuck. Anyway, Chuck. Anyway, the one thing they pride themselves on in this series, and the one question that they always say, we always ask all the activists before they come aboard and pay us that $2,000 to go out there, is, are you willing to die for a whale? And they all say, yeah, I'm willing to die for a whale. Well, that shouldn't really be the question, because see, this is unnecessarily willing to die for a whale. Okay, there's a difference between, well, you're standing there and boo doo doo doo, and you're in your boat and there's a whale next to you and a harpoon comes out and took one for the team. Okay, went down, I'm out, I took one for the whale. And then there's a difference of no danger in sight, and now we're gonna leave you here in the middle of nowhere with no fuel and hardly any food or water for 3 days, and hopefully you'll still be in one piece when the other sister ship, whatever the hell, comes in, refuels you. It didn't even get that far though, because after they harassed these Japanese whalers for so long, I guess the Japanese whalers got pissed, and they went ahead and, from the video I saw, it looked like they just rammed the shit out of that Addie Gale, cut the nose off. It didn't sink. They tried to tow it back to shore. It didn't work out. They basically untied it and let it go. Okay, That's one of the things that was just unbelievable to me. I just cannot fathom what they're thinking. Okay, I'm gonna bring up another thing. In this incident I'm about to bring up is a little less dramatic, but a hell of a lot funnier. In this episode that I watched, there's a school teacher, okay, and his name's skipping my mind right now as we speak as well. This school teacher is in charge of driving one of these rigid inflatables, okay? Now, we'll back up a little bit here. What happened was that after the Abigail sank, there was crew on the Abigail that had only signed up for so many days on this mission. They needed to get back to wherever they needed to go, the mainland or whatever. At the same time, on the sister ship, the Steve Irwin, they have a helicopter that also helps them harass the whalers.